I'm Jordan Poole from the University of Michigan Basketball. You are watching TR Sports. Please enjoy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TR Sports. Man, this has been a long week in sports, and the holidays, my life, everywhere. Yeah, a lot has been happening this week, but we are back again, no matter what, here on TR Sports. And we have a schedule today, a lot of NBA, a little bit of MLB. We're going to start by talking about the Warriors, and is their core and their championship time decaying? Is the time running up for the Warriors? Then we're going to talk about the New York or the Brooklyn Nets and how they're taking over New York City and how they got two big free agents and how I think they're going to do this season. Then we're going to talk about the Sixers and are they better than last season with some losses and additions. And I went a little crazy with the graphic you can see for the Sixers. I have Al Horford in some cool glasses over there. But then we're going to talk about the Knicks and the absolute backlash from the media, the failure to get a star. And then we're going to round out the podcast with a team focus. And maybe we'll have a special story at the end after that. That is only if Kawhi Leonard signs before I'm done recording this and editing it. If he signs after it's done, I can't do anything about it. But if he does sign while I'm editing or something, I'll throw that in. But we'll see what happens. I'm not promising anything because at the time that I'm recording these segments, which is the Friday, Kawhi hasn't signed yet. So let's get right into it. The Warriors. Going into the offseason, of course, they had the risk of losing Kevin Durant, but they got Kevin Durant in the offseason a couple years before. Since then, they won 2 championships. He won 2 Finals MVP out of 3 years, and it was a crazy run for the Warriors. They were the most unstoppable team in the NBA. I didn't doubt them this season. I was wrong. They did lose to the Raptors. They fell eventually by the Kawhi-led Raptors, but now they're in a weird position because they lose Kevin Durant. And Klay Thompson's going to be injured next season, so they really only have Steph and Draymond for the time being. So after losing Kevin Durant, everyone's like, you know what, the Warriors are done. But no, they do come up with a plan, and they somehow pull off a sign-in trade for D'Angelo Russell where they only give up a first-round pick. That's a great trade. A lot of people are talking about how D'Angelo Russell would fit great into the Warriors system and how, he would be able to be the ball handler and Curry would be able to be open and be a catch-and-shoot shooter. So would Klay. But I don't think that would work, really. I think D'Angelo Russell is probably going to get traded around the deadline just because I think Curry is a primary ball handler. A lot of people says he's a 2-guard, more of a shooting guard in a point guard's body. I disagree. I think Curry's got some good passing ability. He's a good ball handler. He's got some screening ability. He's not super liability. He's not a big liability defensively. And I just don't feel like the fit with D'Angelo Russell being a primary ball handler would really work for the Warriors. So I don't love the player they got, but of course they pulled off a great trade. I like a bunch of acquisitions they got elsewhere. They got Willie Cauley-Stein, one of my favorite centers in the league. They got him from the Kings. I believe he's a great role player. Should do a great job over there. They also got, they had to get rid of Andre Iguodala, and that is because they needed some cap room to get extra role players, and they didn't have enough cap room with Iguodala on the roster. Maybe I'm just speculating here is because of some of his comments about the Warriors, but probably not. He did a great job for that organization. So do I think personally, is the Warriors' time up? Is it time for another guy to step up? I think so. I think other teams are going to take this year as an opportunity to build, and someone else is going to win the championship yet again this year. But however, the Warriors are still going to be a title contender. A lot of people are saying they're going to miss the playoffs. That's ridiculous. They're definitely not. They're going to be a solid title contender. They're going to be up there with the greatest teams. and I'm excited to see how the Warriors perform this year. So when we come back, we are going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets, their acquisition of Kevin Durant and Kyrie. How is that team looking? Right here on TR Sports. Welcome back to TR Sports. It's time to get into our next story, the Brooklyn Nets. What an offseason they had. Going into the offseason, they were targeting a couple guys, Kawhi, Kyrie, Durant, all those guys, and they hit the jackpot. They managed to sign Kyrie and Kevin Durant over some competitors that include the Lakers, Clippers, Celtics even, and the New York Knicks. And they did an incredible job. I saw a couple things that were talking about how the Brooklyn Nets managed to do what the New York Knicks have been trying to do in a decade, but in 3 years. And they have accomplished what the Knicks were trying to do for a decade. They have 2 stars. They're ready to compete. But how do I think they're going to do? What's my thoughts on the team? I think giving up D'Angelo Russell for Kyrie Irving is a mistake. I would have kept D'Angelo and made Kyrie go elsewhere. He's a great player. He's a big name and good for them, but I don't feel like it was the right move. I feel like D'Angelo has a lot of potential left, and shipping off to the Warriors, I don't know how he's going to do on the Warriors, but I think if he stayed on the Nets, he'd be a great, great player for them. And don't forget that Kevin Durant is injured right now. He's not going to play all of next season, so this team isn't going to dominate to start. They're going to start out like the Celtics, I feel like, last season. Stay around a 4 seed, maybe 5 seed for the whole season, lose in the second round. That's what I think, because Kevin Durant's not going to play. Instead of D'Angelo, it's Kyrie, who can be a great player at times, but we'll see how he fits on this Nets team, who are really well built, actually. If you even forget about the Kyrie and Durant acquisitions, you can look back and see how well this team was built. Until last year, they didn't have a a top 20 pick since 2010. And they were managed to put together this great team with a core of Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, all these great role players. And now you have 2 stars to pair with them in New York. And it means a lot to the Nets fans and the city and your organization that you can get 2 star players that are deciding between you and the New York Knicks. And they pulled it off. So great, great job by the Nets. Kevin Durant, when he comes back for the injury, how do I think he's going to do? This is a curious case because Kevin Durant is a dominant player. But I say he's got about 4 years left in the tank of dominant play. He comes back from the injury, adjusting time, but then he'll adjust back into himself. I say drop about 25 points per game. That's really specific, but around those numbers, because he is really an exceptional, talented player. So once Kevin Durant comes back, this Nets team, I feel like I would have a lot more confidence in. But for now, it's just Kyrie and an addition of DeAndre Jordan, which is okay. Remember, DeAndre Jordan's not the all-star he was on the Clippers a couple years ago. But he's still a good player. So this Nets team's got a lot of potential going forward. And if I'm a Nets fan, I'm excited. We have a great core, great talent, great bench, great vibe, great fans. Even though I feel like there's some extra Nets fans coming out of there, but that's the case with every team, including the Sixers, when they become good. So it's a great organization in Brooklyn. What more could you want in an organization? So bright years ahead for the Brooklyn Nets. When we come back on TR Sports, we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, and it's the acquisition of Al Horford, Jason Richardson, and a couple rookies and an improved bench. Is that enough to get them to the Eastern Conference Finals and win right here on TR Sports? Welcome back to TR Sports. Let's talk Sixers. Man, was I worried going to this free agency. You guys know I'm a Sixers fan. And was I scared? I thought we might lose both Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. What was the outcome? So we did a story last week on Jimmy Butler possibly going to a sign-and trade, which would send him to the Rockets. That did not happen, so that's check number one, right? And he also didn't leave a team in free agency. He re-signed with us, but then demanded a sign-and trade to the Miami Heat. And I'm sitting there, and I'm remembering Jimmy's quote a couple months ago that said, I just want to win. And you're not going to win in Miami this year. You're going to be an 8th seed, 7th seed. So I was a little salty. I'm not going to lie. The Sixers lose Jimmy Butler, but do I think it hurt their team? Not really. And that's because they got Jason Richardson in return, who is a great player. He can shoot the three, what the Sixers need. And he's like a less ball dominant, better in the locker room player than Jimmy Butler. Would I rather have him than Jimmy Butler? No, but do I think it really hurt our team losing Jimmy Butler? I don't think it really did. Sixers also lose Boban Marjanovic, so that's the end of Bobby and Toby. That's the Sixers need a new center, I guess, a new backup center. We let Boban go. It's not that bad for the Sixers, the organization. It's just worse for the fans and Toby. We also lost TJ McConnell, which is really sad because he was a big piece in the process. And I don't remember where he signed, but he took about $7 million, I think, around that number. But he did leave the Sixers, and he was the second to last player left on the Sixers from the process era. And now it's only Joel Embiid who's left, and TJ, I think I am correct, he signed with the Pacers on a $7 million deal, I believe. But the Sixers didn't need him. He didn't play significant minutes. I love TJ because of his passion and spirit and where he comes from in the process era. But the Sixers don't need him. Don't spend $7 million on him. It's okay. I'm fine with that too. Sixers also acquire Al Horford for free agency, and this is great in a couple ways. Number one, the Sixers no longer have to deal with Al Horford against the Celtics. Now Horford's on our team, and that front court of power forward Al Horford, center Joel Embiid will be nasty, and it will be very exciting to watch. A great defensive team who was going to be able to do everything because Al Horford can also stretch the floor, shoot the three for the Sixers. So that's a great pickup, and I feel like between the Jimmy Butler trade and getting Jason Richardson and signing Al Horford, I feel like the Sixers are in a good place. We made some good moves. I'm happy with our offseason free agency-wise. I'm not mad at anything that they did. I think the team's improved, and I think they have a really, really good chance of winning the NBA title, not only Eastern Conference champions right now. I believe even if Kawhi Leonard goes back to the Raptors this offseason, which he still hasn't made a decision at the time I'm recording this segment too, I still believe the Sixers are the favorite in the East, and I believe they should be in extreme consideration for title contenders. That all depends on the Lakers and what's happening in the West too, though. So, also the first Summer League, the Sixers played on Friday. They played the first Summer League game of the year. Team blew a lead late, but they won by 1 point. Matisse Thybulle in the first 30 seconds got a steal. You could see defensively what he brought, and you could see that he's a Robert Covington, a young Robert Covington with almost more upside than him. We also got to see Zaire Smith in action, and he looked exciting. He looked fun. As long as you keep him away from sesame seeds. If you didn't know, Zaire Smith had to sit out last season because the Sixers gave him sesame seeds, which he's extremely allergic to, so he was sidelined the whole season. But back on track. Zaire Smith looked really exciting to watch, and I was excited of what I saw from the Summer League team. A couple guys are 56 pick Shayok. I don't remember his first name. He didn't look great But the Sixers ended up winning against the Bucks late. We won by 1 point, we being the Sixers. So good offseason for the Sixers. I believe they are a better team than they were last season, and they have a great chance to contend in the Eastern Conference. So when we come back, we are going to be talking about the Knicks and their epic fail. Their epic fail this offseason. And did they really fail, though? I'll be talking about my opinion next, right here on TR Sports. Welcome back to TR Sports. The New York Knicks, we're going to talk about them now. And, many people thought going into the season that the Knicks were going to get a bunch of free agents. They thought, Kevin Durant, Kawhi, Kyrie, even last year LeBron. Because, they're the Knicks. They play in MSG, their box office, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say. However, the Knicks did not do that this offseason. The Knicks did not get a big name. I know, it's crazy. They did not get a big name, and that's what's been the trend every year. Every year, they try to go out and do something huge and get a big free agent. At least that's what the fans want. But that's not what the Knicks want. And believe it or not, I agree with what the New York Knicks are doing. Yes, their competitor, Brooklyn, got two big superstars and did exactly what the Knicks fans want the Knicks to do. But I don't think the Knicks should have done that. I believe the Knicks made the right decision, have a good plan for the future, and are having a good offseason, and we're going to explain why. So let's start all the way back at the draft. The Knicks managed to snag the number 3 pick, and yet again, you have New York Knicks fans ranting and being mad. They're like, we got robbed again. It's another year of us being robbed of the number 1 pick. I know you guys love when I do that voice. No, you had a 14% chance of getting the number 1 pick, and that's just plain and simple. It's not like 23 like it used to be. There's 14% chance now. That means 14%. There's a 14% chance out of 100 of you getting the number 1 pick. That's 14 times in 100 attempts. So it did go in your favor. You got the number 3 pick, as I said many podcasts ago. Getting a top 3 pick in this year is all that really mattered, because everything past the top 3 is just not on the same level as those guys. So you, in my opinion, got lucky. You got a good pick in the draft. You get RJ Barrett, great player, who in any other year recently could have gone number 1. I think he would have gone number 1 last year, and maybe even number 1 the year before, if he was in college, of course, at the time. But you get this guy at number 3. Because you have 2 number 1 picks ahead, too. And RJ Barrett could very well be better than Zion and Ja. Time will tell about that one, but I believe it's a great pickup, and he'll be a great player in this league, an all-star. So you get that. Great. Upset about not getting Zion? I mean, come on, Knicks fans, about that one. So now, we're heading into free agency. All the Knicks fans are like, man, Kevin Durant. And allegedly, the Knicks did not offer Kevin Durant the max. They didn't do it. And he decided to go to Brooklyn with his guy DeAndre Jordan and Kyrie Irving. And I hear Stephen A. and Max Kellerman and all these reporters, Nick Wright, they're all yelling about the Knicks failing. The Knicks did the right thing. What the Knicks did is they signed guys like Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, Wayne Ellington. They signed them to short, expandable contracts that they're not stuck in a hole with. Julius Randle is a great player, underrated. A lot like Zion, just not as athletic. But they got all these guys on 1 year, 2 year, 3 year deals that they will be able to get rid of while they're trying to rebuild. And I feel like they're doing a good job rebuilding. Steve Mills knows his game plan. He's going to stick to that game plan, and that's what he's been doing. And I believe the Knicks are doing the right thing. Should they maybe have told the fans before free agency that they're not going to go after a big guy? Yes, they should not. They should have done that. They should have done that because the fans are mad. But I believe the pickups they've gotten this season are great. And they're set for the future right now. I believe a couple more years before the Knicks make the playoffs, but they're definitely on the right track. And with guys like Julius Randle and pickups like that, they're starting to rebuild. They're starting to rebuild a new culture. And I feel like it's looking brighter than it did before the offseason in New York. And I never personally believed that the Knicks were going to get a big guy. And they didn't. That's how it goes for most teams. And if you're in New York, be happy you're in New York and not in Memphis. One of the small market teams struggle to get even guys like Julius Randle. So it's looking good in New York is all I'm saying. Knicks fans, please be patient. This Knicks team has a lot of potential in it. So when we come back, we are going to be talking about the Bronx Bombers. We're going to be doing a team focus on the New York Yankees right here on TR Sports. You know what time it is. You heard that intro. You heard the music. You saw the clip. It is time for Team Focus. And today, we're going to be doing the New York Yankees. But before we do Team Focus, just want to say a couple things. A couple deaths around baseball. And not only baseball, but the NFL. So Tyler Skaggs, a pitcher for the Angels, died in his hotel room this weekend. And he died mysteriously. No one knows what it's from. It's not suicide and it's not a murder attempt. But we don't know what happened to him. So he was set to pitch a couple days after his death. So prayers to him and his family. Also, Jared Lorenzo, former Kentucky quarterback and former New York Giants quarterback, died. He's a really big guy. So he was a great, fun player to watch. And there's a couple great clips. If you look at the Giants, I recommend this. After the Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007, you can there's some great clips of Jared Lorenzo and Eli Manning when they're practicing, and Eli Manning is trying to escape the pocket when there's pressure, and Jared Lorenzo is applying the pressure, and Eli Manning manages to escape. And that's what happened during the helmet catch. David Tyree's famous helmet catch, that's what happened. He was able to escape because Eli Manning was able to escape the pocket and the pressure because of the work he did with Jared Lorenzo in practice. So, it's a really meaningful thing to look back on now that he's dead. But prayers to him, too, and his family. But enough of that. It is time to talk about the Yankees and what I think of their team, and we're going to be talking Yankees. So, wow, they are good. They're one of the best teams in baseball, no doubt. Even though injuries have rocked them, Aaron Judge has been out a lot. Giancarlo Stanton has been out a lot. But Aaron Judge is just now coming back, and they're looking strong while Stanton's still injured. But this team does not stop. They are crazy offensively. They played in the London series. They played in London against the Red Sox this weekend, and they won 17-13. That's how good this offense is, even though their pitching can be lacking at times. But they're just so good, and a lot of people said the balls in those London series were juiced, and that's why they had 17 runs. But I don't believe that. I think personally that the Yankees are just so good at hitting, and I believe the whole myth of the balls being juiced by the MLB is not true. But I just feel like the Yankees are so good at hitting the baseball and hitting the baseball far. And their bullpens can be pretty good. They have Aroldis Chapman, who is well known. He can throw high velocity. He's a good closer, good guy to have in the back of that rotation. And there's a lot of good guys, a lot of young, great guys for them. Every year it seems like they have a new star. Last year was Andujar and Torres. This year it's Gio Urshela. And they also have Edwin Encarnacion. They sent down a player, Clint Frazier, who was known for wearing some crazy shoes in games, but that's beside the point. They sent him down, and he was hitting like 280 with 11 home runs. That's how good this team is. They don't need a guy in the outfield who can hit 280 and 11 home runs, who I'm sure the Phillies would really take right now. They don't need him, and that's how stacked they are. They're unstoppable right now. One of the best team in the majors, only behind the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are unstoppable with 5 straight walk-off wins. I mean, what more can you want from a Yankees team? The ownership knows how to use the money. They're a well-run organization. They seem to be in contention every year, and this year they're killing their division. They're killing their opponents. The Rays have fallen a lot since we did the team focus on them, and the Red Sox are nowhere near the Yankees right now, and I believe the Yankees have a great shot at winning the World Series this year. I was actually at a Trenton Thunder game this weekend. I can tell you this, they don't have a lot of great minor league talent after watching that Trenton game. So the rest of the league, you can take a breath on that one. But there's so many great players on this Yankee team. There's a lot of great pitchers. James Paxton has been rough this season, but he's got off to a bad start, but I believe he could pick it up. And once guys come back for them, a lot of pitchers who are injured, they'll be even better, which is a really scary thought for the Yankees and the rest of the, not for the Yankees, but for the rest of the league, and that's a great thought for the Yankees. So, if I had to give the Yankees a grade, it would easily be an A+. On the level with the Dodgers, can definitely take if they're in the World Series versus the Dodgers, which I hope happens. I feel like they could definitely take the Dodgers to 7 games, have a crazy series, and give everyone their money's worth this year, unlike the past couple of years. And by past couple, I just mean last year, because now that I think about it, the World Series before that one was Astros and Dodgers, and that was a great series. But, yes, this Yankees team is an A+, no doubt about it. Great power. Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, Edwin Encarnacion, Aaron Judge, Stanton, all these great guys, and a bunch of them are injured right now. So when they come back, somehow this Yankees team is going to get even better. Congrats, guys. It is time for the bonus story. Yes, I recorded all the segments, but then Kawhi went to the Clippers. And not only did they get Kawhi, the Clippers also got Paul George by trading Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and 4 unprotected first-round picks, which is a lot. But they're building something over in LA that will directly be able to compete with the Lakers. And I believe they're definitely one of the top title contenders. This completely changes the shift in the Western Conference. Do I think they're going to make the finals? Maybe. It's going to be very interesting. I said the Sixers are going to be the best defensive team in the league. I think the Clippers are going to be right there with them, with Pat Bev, Paul George, and Kawhi. 3 defensive studs. So I'm really excited for the season. Greatest offseason in NBA history. And we should all be excited for this season in the Western Conference. It's going to be so much competition. And teams are making moves. But that concludes today's episode of TR Sports. This is my final podcast in Maine. Next week, we are going to be on the normal setup. I'll be more comfortable. I'm right now in a weird sitting position while doing this podcast. Not my favorite way to do it, but I'll be back home, and I'll be doing the recordings all at home, editing at home, so it should be great content for you guys there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. That closes out my vacation, closes out my time in Maine, and I've done the 2 podcasts now. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next podcast.